Have you ever thought, how do I feed a family of 6 steak on a budget? Well, this is the recipe that delivers deliciousness at a decent price.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Rock from Smoke Q. So today we're making some marinated flank steak. We're using some Burton's W sauce as well as some of our Bourbon brisket rub. This thing is lights out good, easy to do, and great for any weeknight meal or weekend fun.
To get this recipe started, I'm gonna mix up this quick marinade, but before we do, I had to show this outtake. Now, a lot of times with the ability to edit with videos, we don't showcase some of the mishaps, but this one was just too good to not show. Now on to take 2. So to get me started, I'm measuring out a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil before pouring it into a medium-sized mixing bowl. Now I'm reaching for some soy sauce. And again, I'm measuring out a 1/4 cup before adding it into the mixing bowl. Next up is some balsamic vinaigrette. Now you'll see what looks like 4 tablespoons, but this is actually a 1/2 tablespoon measuring. So it's really just 2 tablespoons. Same thing with the Bear and Burton's W sauce. This stuff is so delicious. And again, it's just 2 tablespoons, but at the end, I did pour a little extra because it's just that good. Next up is another 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and this just provides a little added sweetness. And then at the end, to tie everything all together, I added some acid by cutting a lemon in half and squeezing in that half lemon right into the mixing bowl. Lastly, I added some of my Rock's Bourbon brisket rub, which is a salt, pepper, garlic, SPG, spice blend that has some added smoke flavors. With all the ingredients into the mixing bowl, I used a spoon to mix it up and really incorporate all the ingredients together before adding the flank steak into a large Ziploc bag and then pouring the entire marinade over the flank steak. Once you get the flank steak into the Ziploc bag, leave some air in the bag when you seal it. This will help provide some space to move the steak around and get the marinade incorporated as best you can to the entire flank steak. Next, I placed the sealed marinated flank steaks into my refrigerator. You'll want to marinate them for at least a minimum of an hour, but a lot of times I like to do it overnight to really incorporate all those flavors. And now I'm ready to throw these flank steaks on the Traeger Timberline XL. For this recipe, I'm running at 350 degrees for about an hour. As you'll see here, I actually didn't wipe off any of the marinade, and this was my mistake. I completely just forgot to do it. Certainly not a huge deal, but at the end, the result was a little bit wetter steak than I wanted. That said, I did turn up the smoker to 450 degrees once the internal temp was at 130, and then ran the flank steak for another 2 to 3 minutes until it hit 145 internal temp. After a quick rest on my rosewood block cutting board, I was ready to slice into this bad boy. It was looking that perfect pink color after the rest. Flank steak can be a little bit tougher cut of meat. That's why you want to keep it at that medium side of doneness. If you take the internal temp higher, say medium well or well done, it's going to be a tough, chewy, and less desirable cut of meat. But after taking a quick look at this thing, I had to jump in for that first bite. So I sliced off a long strip with my Messermeister chef's knife, cutting across the grain and then slicing in half before jumping in and taste testing. And let me tell you, the pairing of this marinade and the Bear and Burton's W sauce really just set this thing to a whole different level. So once I've gotten my first taste test, I went ahead and sliced up the entire flank steak into long strips. I like to do it this way to serve to my family, as my wife and I like to take the long strips and eat them like you would a normal steak, cutting as you go. But I also was able to take these long strips and cut them into smaller chunks for my kids. We usually serve our flank steak with a side of mashed potatoes, but this is a great protein to take and do things like tacos or turn them into fajitas. Really, there are any number of things that you can do with the flank steak. Pound for pound, it's just a versatile cut of meat. Overall, like I said, price per pound, how far it goes at our house, it really just makes it a great option to enjoy some delicious protein and still be a little bit budget conscious. Well, if you're still here, you rock, and I can't thank you enough. I really hope that you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the latest backyard pitmaster adventures.